You are listening to chartingwealth.com for Wednesday, the 14th of March, 2018. We see stocks down for the day. The S&P 500 down 0.65%. The Qs, the Nasdaq 100 down big, 1.36%. TLT, that's 20-year bonds, up 0.51%. Gold up just a little bit, 0.19%. Let's jump first into the S&P 500. What do we see going on? Well, the price percent oscillator, our main indicator, has tipped back over, going down, moving away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator still losing some downward momentum. So far, the candle we have drawing for the week is a green up candle. No down wick, just a little wick on top. And again, we see that the price percent oscillator, of course, we saw that originally cross over. Well, last crossover all the way back on February the 9th, the week ending that Friday. As we look at the two-day chart, what we see happening is we saw a crossover occur on that two-day chart, ending the two-day candle ending on Friday the 9th, and we see continued up movement as far as our Heikin Ashi candlesticks. Remember, they mean average pace in Japanese, and we see that continuing up even with the down move for the day on the S&P 500. Remember, it's not calculated the same way. I think we're up to 66,000 people listening to that, watching that training. You can catch it at YouTube or at our Charting Wealth channel, or of course Charting Wealth on YouTube or chartingwealth.com. We look at the 4-hour chart. What do we see going on there? Well, the price percent oscillators headed over, moving down. We saw up movement in the morning, stronger down movement in the afternoon. Again, don't have a crossover going down, still a confirmed up move on that 4-hour chart along with the two-day chart, but it was a down move for the day. We'll continue to sort of keep an eye on things. Remember, all things being equal, the market tends to move in the direction of the largest chart, and that is, of course, the weekly chart. Now, we're going to have a review for you at the end of this month in another couple of weeks on the quarterly chart. We'll keep you posted on that. You have to be a subscriber. You have to be a subscriber to get all the stuff that we have that's special. But you know what that costs you? Nothing. You just go to chartingwealth.com, put in your name and email address, and boom, you are signed up. We see that price movement is still above the 50-period moving average after crossing through it back on the 7th, that is on the 4-hour chart, moving back down toward it. And again, prices are well above that 200-period moving average. So we'll continue to keep our eye on things when it comes to the S&P 500. What do we see now going on with the Nasdaq 100, or the Qs as we affectionately call it? Well, we're going into our 5th week of up movement. We see the price percent oscillators going, well, it's still going up, but it has flattened out pretty substantially after kicking up and crossing over back on Friday the 9th of March. Remember, we had that crossover going up then. We see the derivative oscillators losing downward momentum. Price percent oscillator, like we just said, is still up, but not at the same momentum. But that candle is a big one, still up with a wick on top, no bottom wick. Again, green open top, open candles, which of course mean strong up movement. That's what we see so far. 2 days into the 5-day weekly candle, we see the latest 2-day candle also shows up movement. Again, petering off a little bit, not going up as strongly as it had been for that candle ending Friday the 9th, but still over the last 4 days, we see things continuing to move up. And again, we are just continuing to keep an eye on where things are going. That 2-day chart continuing, well, it looks like the derivative oscillator has pretty much gone flat. Price percent oscillator still moving up, price movement well above the 2-day trend line. And of course, we have a weekly crossover going up that started on Monday. Don't forget that. What did we see happen? Well, we saw some down movement in the morning, a little bit more in the afternoon. Still don't have a crossover going down. Things are still continuing to move up, but keep your eye on the prize. We'll see just what the Qs are doing. Again, price movement still well above the 200, and the 50-period moving averages well above the 2-day trend line. So we'll continue to keep our eye on things. Bit of a down day for the Qs. We'll continue to watch and see what happens. What's up on that weekly chart with 20-year bonds? Well, 20-year bonds, are they bottoming out? They're trying to start moving up again, up for the day 0.51%. Derivative oscillator losing downward momentum, price percent oscillator heading up. And again, we still have a confirmed down move on the weekly. The 2-day chart, of course, crossed over going up back on the 5th. That was the 2-day chart ending on Monday, the 5th of March. And we see the latest 2-day candle that is forming is a green up candle, and derivative oscillator actually gaining strong momentum. Price percent oscillator spiked going up so far with the latest growth that we see on this latest 2-day candle. As we look at the 4-hour chart, what do we see? We see, of course, 5 up candles, the last 2 quite strong, moving up, pulling away from the red signal line, derivative oscillator gaining energy. Perhaps we are seeing a bottoming. Again, we're going to need to see that price movement rise above somewhere about the 119.40 mark or so. We'll just see if it pops through and keeps moving up. It is up to the Bollinger Band right now, and it has pushed through that 50-period moving average, still well below the 200-period moving average. We'll just see what's going to happen on 20-year bonds. Remember, if indeed the charts roll over and start moving down on stocks, of course, you can expect bonds to bottom out and move up. But it is quite interesting to see what we see happening right now in bonds. We'll continue to keep an eye on that to keep you apprised. What do we see going on the weekly chart with gold? Of course, gold is trying to cross over going down, not as strong as it had been. Gold, of course, is up for the day, 0.19%. Derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. Price percent oscillator still appears to be crossing over going down, have a red signal line that looks like it's tried to push through that 2-day moving average and pushing through the weekly average. Looks like it's trying to move down. I'm sorry, the weekly trend line and the 2-day trend line. I bet we're going to need to redraw that 2-day trend line. Yes, we are. And going to be hard to really keep much of a trend line there. Remember, bottom up, top down. And it does look like, yes, price movement, that's pretty decent trend line we've drawn, topping off on that up candle back on the 7th. So what we see on the 2-day candle on gold is really a continuous sideways slide tending down. And we'll just continue to keep our eye on things on gold. As we take a look at the 4-hour chart, what do we see? Well, it's popped back up. It sort of bounced off the red signal line. Derivative oscillator has gone positive. Price percent oscillator moving up. And we're going into our 3rd candle of up movement. Maybe gold is going to keep rising. It's got a lot of catching up to do if it's going to get anywhere near where it was with those pop-ups back on the 6th, particularly in the morning of the 6th, all the way up to somewhere around a high of 126.96. So again, it's got some momentum to push through, has pushed through the 2-day trend line, at least the 4-hour chart has. So we'll continue to keep our eye on things. I would love to see this 4-hour chart start working again and become a reliable total trading chart. It has not been doing so good over the last few weeks. Tried to, but again, sort of stopping and stalling on us, and particularly as of late. Folks, that's where we are as we end the day on Tuesday and go into Wednesday the 14th. We love to hear from you. Have questions, problems, concerns? Let us hear from you. You can always write us cw@chartingwealth.com. We'll do all we can to get back with you. And again, we thank all of you for making us in the top 10 of all stock market podcasts and in the top 5 in stock trading podcast. I believe we're number 4 in the world. Thank you so much, my friends. All the best. God bless from the whole team here at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.